I just figured if we're gonna talk about business, let's do it in the place where I'm building my business. I didn't really plan a place to sit. I didn't think that one through. We might be standing for this one. Can anyone in the comments section explain to me why they filled the window well with rocks here? Because I don't understand one bit. But speaking of rocks, we did just release an entire Stream Beats rock album that's available for you to use on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere in your content, on Twitch or on YouTube, anywhere. Gosh, that segue was brilliant. I bet absolutely none of you saw that one coming. But it's true, we dropped the Stream Beats Originals album. I'm super proud of it. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music, both the full version and the instrumental version if you want to use it on stream and not have lyrics distracting you at all. I'll put links down in the description below, but we also just revamped the streambeats.com website, and it has all the genres, all the links. I mean, anything you need to know is on streambeats.com. So that in the description below. Enjoy rock in your streams and in your YouTube videos. You deserve it, you're awesome. Let's talk about business. Social media business is a fascinating one because you are the business. You are the product. You're selling yourself. You're trying to get people to connect with you. And so you're constantly trying to find the balance between being a person and being a business. And that's a huge distinction there that I think a lot of new content creators don't realize. Day to day, for years, we've seen ourselves as a person. We're born a certain way. We're taught to like who we are and to not change ourselves for anyone else. However, in this realm, we are a business. And if you're a business, it's a lot easier to recognize gaps in the industry that maybe you as a person don't fit into perfectly. But as a business, as something you've created, as something that's moldable, you can see which one of these will I fit into and which one will I enjoy fitting into the best. The most, the best, doesn't matter. By the way, I'm talking really close to the camera because I don't want to get too much echo, but I did just put foam on the walls. We might be okay. So yeah, let's jump into some Twitter questions, but I wanted to make that distinction first. If you can recognize yourself as a product and as a business, you're gonna be a much more flexible vessel to follow the industry wherever it goes and whatever the people want. I heard you tell CodeMiko if there's a market for it, then build it and they will come. What if your idea is bigger than your britches? If your idea is too big for your britches, those are the best ideas. In any situation, no matter what you're doing, starting a business is something new and it's scary and it's gonna feel outside your realm of what you're able to accomplish. Those are the best ones because you do them and you accomplish them and you have to stretch and grow and you realize you're capable of so much more. But sometimes you do have those ideas that you know you have to put in the work and the stepping stones to get there first, maybe in a couple of years. I've got a handful of those ideas. Those are the ones that get me excited the most, and those are the ones that motivate me to do what I'm doing now. They also give you a ton of direction because you know if I'm going to accomplish this, I have to do step 1, 2, and 3 first. And that kind of fills in smaller business ideas along the way. Like Stream Beats Originals, that thing that I just pushed super subtly, by the way, in the beginning of this. Stream Beats Originals is a project that is a step 1 in like a 3 or 4 step plan to do something much bigger than I'm capable of doing right now. So, you know, be excited about the big ideas. They're the good ones. What is the best time to reinvest earnings in more employees for your brand? Yeah, hiring people. This is my second social media career. My first one was a music career with my wife. That was a lot of fun. We never hired anyone for that. This one now, this gaming and music and tech career, this is the first one I've hired people for. And I've hired, as you guys know, Sam to work on the editing side for the Alpha Gaming channel. And I've hired Ryan to work on the music side for Stream Beats. Both of those positions that I hired for, I'd been doing myself for months first before I brought on someone to take over what I was doing. And really just about any business you're starting, especially if it's like a bootstrapped business, you're starting from nothing, you have no capital, you have no reputation, nothing to bring on outside investors or partners or money. Doing the dirty work yourself, I think, is an irreplaceable asset. Everybody should do that for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a litmus test to really help you decide if you enjoy doing this at all. If we're talking about the content creation business, one of the common questions I get is, hey, I'm trying to start this, but I hate editing. Would you recommend hiring an editor, or what do you do to stay motivated? That is one of the first realizations people have when they get into this industry, because when we do these videos, you don't see the editing. You didn't see the editing I did before I hired Sam. You don't see the immense amount of work that Sam puts into editing. This is not just a job of talking to the camera or playing video games while you're streaming and talking to people and making money. This is a career of an insane amount of work, and when you edit, you start to realize what that is, and maybe you start to realize that it's not as fun as you thought it would be. So yeah, that's the first thing. If you absolutely hate editing YouTube videos, which by the way, most YouTubers do, They're just willing to do it anyway, and they have the drive to push through. But if you're not willing to edit your videos, that might be a sign that you should probably move on to something else. And two, the second reason, which I think is just as important of a reason to do the dirty work yourself, is you hire someone when you're ready to expand. When you're succeeding, you're bringing in income and you can start growing into other ventures, but you're spending so much of your time doing that dirty work that you can't expand. That's when your time becomes more valuable than the money it costs for someone else to do that. That's when I hired Sam, is when the channel was growing. I wanted to expand to doing larger things, but I couldn't because all my time was invested in editing. So by bringing on Sam, I was able to free up my time that allowed me to do more things, and the channel continued growing. And by the time I hired Sam, I'd edited for so long that I was able to speak the language with him. I wasn't just throwing him footage saying, hey, figure it out, make a video out of this. I was able to film knowing what the finished product and the editing process was going to look like, so we could talk about it and say, hey, let's throw a J-cut in here, hey, let's throw a crossfade here. The color correction is a little bit soft, we need to lower the blacks a little bit, things like that. It makes your job as the creative lead a lot easier when you've done the things that you hire people for. You guys wanna move the camera to a different angle? These little rooms, let's go in my stream room. Future stream room. Cool, the camera is right where the desk is going to be for the new stream room. That's kind of neat. Are there any particular analytics you use when looking at your videos to figure out what's working and what isn't? Yeah, the most common two analytics I look at are click-through rate and retention rate. Those two metrics I find to be the most important about how well your video is performing. Click-through rate means of all the people that saw your title and thumbnail on their web page at some point, what % of them were interested enough to click on it? And then viewer retention rate is of those people that began watching the video, what % of the video did they actually watch through? I find that as you get these two a little bit higher, YouTube recommends your videos more because it's kind of the two basic metrics of what you want. How many people were interested in your video, and then how many people continued watching all the way through the end. Because the way to simplify the YouTube algorithm is YouTube wants to keep people on the platform as long as possible. If there is a video that people aren't interested in and aren't gonna click on, and if they do, they leave immediately after, YouTube doesn't really have a lot of motivation to recommend that one. I mean, especially in your subscription feed. If your own subscribers who like you and say they wanna watch your videos won't click on your videos, why would YouTube recommend it to a group of people who don't know who you are? So yeah, focus on those two. There are a lot of other metrics to focus on also, but I think you should prioritize those two. How do I know if I'm doing something right and I need to stay patient, or it's time to try something new, like a new format? Yeah, so this question ranges a spectrum of answers, because we can talk about the macro, meaning like, how do I know if YouTube is working for me? Or we can talk about the micro, like if you're a gaming content creator, you're like, should I switch games or game modes, right? And then everywhere in between, maybe I switch from gaming content to tech content, right? And I wish there was an easy answer to this, but really the bottom line is a lot of it's just self-awareness. You need to be watching your own content and asking yourself, would I watch this? When you look at your thumbnail, you need to ask yourself, if I didn't know who I was, would I click on this? And that's a skill you can learn, but it's very, very difficult. I mean, with any large creator, you can look back on their history and you can see that they were doing stuff that wasn't working until one day it was. So everybody starts with nothing working at the beginning. For me, it's just a matter of choosing something and really giving it 100%, putting your head down, grinding hard for 2 to 3 months, and then picking your head back up, looking at your stuff and saying, what's working, what's not? What should I change? Let's adjust these things here, and then trying again. That's the only way you're really gonna be able to know for sure if what you're doing is working or not, if you give it an honest effort. In regards to the future of content creation, so many people trying to do it, do you think there will ever be fewer big streamers? Meaning, rather than the majority of Twitch viewers on 2 to 5 streamers, they'd be split across 10 to 30 at a time, or do you think it'll stay the same in years to come? Yeah, so talking about the huge viewership disparity between smaller streamers and bigger streamers, meaning that 99% of streamers on Twitch have fewer than 15 viewers. 99.9% of streamers have fewer than 150 viewers. And of that 0.1% of streamers that have over 150 viewers, only a fraction of those are actually making a decent income to pay all their bills. But I think the biggest cause for this is the thing that we've been shouting about for a very long time and nothing seems to have changed, which is the drastic difficulty to get discovered on Twitch. And I know I sound like a broken record. I talk about that all the time. It is a really big issue. The way Twitch is set up right now is there is no algorithm. There is no way to get discovered. Raids don't do anything. People don't like to browse live content. So the big streamers keep getting bigger and farther away from the other 999%, 99.9%. And I think it's gonna keep going that way until discoverability is no longer an issue for live streams. So the way I see it, one of two things would fix this viewership and streamer income disparity that's going on here. One, Twitch finally pulls up their big boy pants and creates a real sense of discoverability on Twitch. I don't see that happening. Let's move this closer. The sun's going down. Let's move this closer to the window. I feel like I'm getting dark. Oh, that's much better. So let's leave that one in the corner. Maybe it'll happen. That'd be great. The real solution I see to this is something that you hear a lot of people talking about nowadays. YouTube being the predominant streaming platform, which I think is super likely with all the plays that they're making to make the experience better for both streamers and viewers. And while that seems like such an obvious answer, like, oh, okay, well, that's gonna be the solution, that's a lot more difficult than it sounds. It's gonna take a lot of time. YouTube has such an advantage on Twitch in terms of its variety of styles of content. You can stream on YouTube, but then reach whole new audiences with full-length YouTube videos, which you can also monetize. YouTube Stories, now YouTube Shorts, which are massive, by the way. I've been sleeping on YouTube Shorts. I'm gonna start posting shorts on my personal YouTube channel, which I'm starting back up, like hopefully this month. So youtube.com/HarrisHeller. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel. It's about time I started making personal content. And so while YouTube has this wide variety of styles of content and discoverability for streamers, the difficulty they're having is the majority of viewers are going to be where their favorite streamers are, which is where all the big streamers are, which right now is on Twitch. And for most of those streamers, like 90% of their income comes from Twitch. The moment they move to YouTube, they lose right off the bat a fat amount of viewership. I know, for example, Valkyrae lost half of her viewership when she moved over to YouTube. And on top of that, I'm sure a lot of those people who did come and watch her were a little bit hesitant to join a membership because nobody really knows what that is. So she probably lost even more than 50% of her income. Fortunately, she had a deal with YouTube, and so she kind of had a little bit of a safety net there. But all these big streamers won't. They're gonna have to move over eventually, and they're gonna lose 75% of everything they make for a long time. So that's why that transition is gonna take a long time. One of three things is gonna happen. Twitch is gonna fix their discoverability, unlikely. YouTube is going to be the winner and everyone's gonna move over. That's gonna take a long time. Or three, everything stays as is and only a really, really tiny percent of streamers make all the money. That's about it. At least the way I see it. Guys, every time I come into this space, I'm so excited to start making content here. We should be moving in about 2 months, and then we're gonna get started on finishing the basement. So I'll be streaming from like making videos from a really unprofessional room for a little bit. I'm kind of excited about it. I just need a change of pace. I've been making videos from the same room for so long, and you have no idea how excited I am for this. I hope you guys are excited for this. Again, thank you for everyone who listens to Stream Beats, especially who has listened to the new rock album. I can say this because I didn't write most of it. I think it's one of the most amazing rock albums I've ever heard. So link to that again in the description below. And as always, happy streaming.
Let's take them down!
Let's do it! Burn them!
Oh, never mind, Warner Brothers. I do love you. Warner Brothers, if you ever need a VTuber, I'll still work for you. Everybody has a price. Huh?
Chill out. Come on, Miko, have a backbone.